my name's Emily, and today we're going to be discussing gun control laws in the U.S. In August of 2019, one of the biggest mass shootings took place in the United States. 21-year-old Patrick Crusius gunned down and murdered 23 people and injured 23 people inside of a local Walmart in El Paso, Texas. In the interviews, he tells officials that it was merely a response to the Hispanic invasion in Texas. He admits to driving over 11 hours from his hometown in Allen, Texas to El Paso, Texas to target Mexicans. This devastating bloodbath could have easily been prevented with one easy step: more rigorous gun control laws in the United States. This controversial topic has people wanting to prohibit guns altogether, whereas others firmly stand by their Second Amendment right. Today we'll discuss the purpose of the Second Amendment, why there should be more restrictions and background checks when possessing a firearm, and the positives of gun control laws. There needs to be a ban on automatic firearms for a citizen. There really is no need for a civilian to own an automatic gun. You'll notice on the pamphlet that I handed out to you, the Gun Violence Archive, which records mass shooting, states that as of November 26, 2020, there have been 578 mass shootings. This year has tremendously surpassed the 417 shootings recorded just for last year. It's only going to get worse if we don't take action and do something about it. There's no denying 2020 has been a stressful year for all of us. Because of this intense stress, we've seen a rapid increase in gun violence this year compared to previous years. Some of the main reasons we've seen an increase in gun violence in 2020 is because people have become more skeptical with the fairness and the effective protection of law enforcement and our justice system. These factors have encouraged people to exercise their Second Amendment rights by purchasing firearms thinking that it's their only source of protection. There are many people that use their Second Amendment right to defend their firearm purchases. However, if we look back at the history of the Second Amendment, when the Founding Fathers created the Constitution, the most commonly used gun was a musket and a flintlock pistol. They were not very accurate, and it only holds enough ammo for one shot. This made it very difficult to fire more than 3 rounds per minute. The steps one would have to take in order to reload and fire the gun would take longer, causing fewer casualties to occur compared to the semi-automatic rifles and automatic rifles we have easily accessible in stores today. When the Constitution was created, the Revolutionary War had just ended. This was a time when men would randomly be selected and called to war, when owning a musket would come in handy. Now, luckily, we have many branches of military and police forces that have been given guns and weapons by the government in order to aid the protection of the U.S. citizens. Guns have not always been a bad thing, but there's no denying that they get used inappropriately far too often, which has transformed them into a deadly murderous weapon. Guns originated as a tool to put food on the table and protect ourselves. Now people's perceptions of firearms are much different. Due to all the news and media stories we hear and see on a daily basis, has caused Americans to look at guns as a dangerous weapon instead. Therefore, possessing a gun should not be as easy as it is in today's society. There needs to be a more thorough background check and regulations in order to possess a firearm. According to the FBI data in 2020, they recorded 1.3 million handguns and 700,000 firearms and shotguns sold in the U.S. That is a 60% increase in firearm sales. The scary part is all those millions of guns did not require a single background check on its buyers. There are far too many civilians legally owning guns that are not even capable of making accurate decisions in a time of distress. There's no need for a civilian to use guns. In fact, there are actually many positives that come from gun control. If we take a glance at other countries with stricter gun control laws, there's a huge difference in gun violence. In the United Kingdom, they have the second strictest gun laws, right next to Japan being number 1. The UK Hungerford Massacre in 1987 is a great example as to why gun control is necessary. The owner of 3 legally registered weapons, Michael Ryan, hit a mental break and killed 16 people and then killed himself. He used 2 semi-automatic rifles and a handgun that were all legally registered under his name. Ryan seemed like a pretty normal guy that no one would have expected to snap like he did. This is a prime example as to why we need stricter gun control laws. More often than not, the government allows civilians to own guns, which is typically someone you'd never expect, rather than some convicted criminal with a stolen firearm causing mass shootings. Through the power of legislation, the United Kingdom put an end to the use of any semi-automatic weapons to prevent another horrific massacre from occurring. As we look back throughout history, the issues of gun violence have only gotten worse, which is why we must take necessary actions to ban civilians from owning firearms, especially without intense background evaluations done. In conclusion, if a civilian wants to own a handgun to protect themselves, they should be required to go through strict psychological evaluations, a background check, and firearm training. Firearms must also be sold at particular stores and not in our local supermarkets. There needs to be a ban on automatic firearms for citizens. There really is no reason a civilian should own an automatic gun. I understand that there are situations when owning a gun to protect yourself can be very useful. However, they should not be as easily obtainable as they are in our today's society. When there are less firearms being sold to citizens, there are less mass shootings and deaths. Let's all do our part to protect our loved ones, to avoid guns falling into the wrong hands. Let's prevent gun violence.